Welcome to the book of Melachim I, Parak Yud Gimel, chapter 13, where we see the continuation of the split, where Yerovam, Shlomo's former servant, splits the kingdom, takes the north, the 10 tribes, and Rechavam, the son of Shlomo, keeps only Jerusalem, Judea, tribe and a half. He has Yehuda and part of Binyamin. That's what happens here, and he feels competition. Yerovam, the split person, the person who takes over the kingdom of the north of Israel, he feels competition, that he's afraid people are going to go from the tribes of Israel to the Beit HaMikdash on the holidays, so he creates an alternative religion on the 15th of Cheshvan in Beit El. He builds a golden calf. He also does that in the northern city of Dan. And he's standing there now. The scene catches us. We are now at a place where the Yerovam, I told you they're confusing. Yerovam, the guy who fights, the guy who splits, he is standing in Beit El on the altar, worshiping one of the golden calves, and he's himself bringing the offerings. That's where it catches us. As he is standing there, everyone's looking. Imagine the scene. Suddenly a prophet comes from Yehuda, and he comes and he suddenly begins to prophesy, and he speaks to the Mizbeach, and he says, Mizbeach, Mizbeach. So said Hashem, a son is going to be born to the house of David. His name is Yoshiyahu, and he will bring on this Mizbeach as an offering all of the priests who worship the idol worships. It's going to be an ugly scene, basically. That all the Kohanim who are not actually Kohanim are going to be offered on this Mizbeach. And I'll give you a miracle to prove my point. The Mizbeach is about to split, and all the coal, charcoal, burnt elements on it, the deshen, is going to spill. And the king hears this, and he's like, wow, the audacity. And he stretches his hand out to point at the guy, and he says, go catch him, arrest him. But as he is holding that hand up to point at who to arrest, guess what happens? His hand freezes, and he couldn't bring it back, and the Mizbeach splits, and all of the charcoal and the piles that are on the Mizbeach spill down exactly like the prophet said. The king suddenly changes his tone, and he turns to the guy and he's like, please pray to Hashem on my behalf. And in fact, he does that, and the king's hand returns like it has been before. And the king then says to the prophet from Yehuda, he says, look, I appreciate your message. Why don't you come now to the palace with me? Let's have a meal together. I'll give you a gift. And the prophet says to the king, even if you give me half of your house, even if you give me half of your house, I will not be able to come. I cannot even eat bread or drink water with you. Why? Because Hashem specifically told me to come, deliver the prophecy, and go home without eating or drinking or stopping. Now, some guy who honestly I think is the worst guy. I mean, there's bad guys, but this is just pure badness. It says an old prophet, doesn't say what kind of prophet, but an old prophet is sitting there in Beit El, and his son comes and tells him everything that happened, and he says, oh, I have an idea. This guy from Beit El, prophet, ex-prophet, more like an ex-prophet, gets on his donkey and quickly rides on the road trying to catch up with the prophet from Yehuda, and he says to him, stop, are you the prophet from Yehuda? And the guy's like, yes, I am the prophet from Yehuda. He says, come join me in my house to eat and have a good time. Just eat with me, drink with me. And the guy from Yehuda says, no, Hashem told me specifically, do not eat, do not drink, just deliver your prophecy and come back. And now here's where it gets nasty. The prophet from Beit El says, I too am also a prophet, and an angel of Hashem spoke to me and said to me, you should come to my house and eat with me and drink with me. He lied. Very rarely does the pasuk specifically say that was a lie. But it says here, Ki cheshlo, he lied to him. The prophet from Beit El lied to the prophet of Yehuda, and he's like, come to my house, eat with me, Hashem told me. And they sit down to eat, and Hashem says to the man from Yehuda, the prophet from Yehuda, you have violated my decree, and since you have violated my decree, you will not return to the grave of your forefathers. You didn't stick to the instructions, and sad situation. So he finishes eating, drinking, he gets on his donkey, and as he's walking on his way back, a lion comes, eats him up, and his body is stranded on the side of the road while the lion keeps standing there. So the lion is still standing there. And people go by and they see the lion there and they see the animal there. And they say, wow, this guy is that you just had. They tell the old man from Beit, the guy you just hosted is now on the roadside, not alive, with a lion next to him. And he says, well, the prophet from Beit says, well, that is what happens because he violated what Hashem said. But this guy from Beit is the one who had the idea to tell him to eat with him and lie to him. So he should feel more guilt. So he tells his sons, get my donkey. He goes there. He sees the lion standing there. He sees the prophet from Yehuda there, not alive. And interestingly, the lion did not eat any of the donkey or the person, nothing. He's just watching the animal. And so the prophet, maybe he felt guilty. I hope so. He goes and he takes the man and puts him on the donkey, puts his remains on the donkey, and he brings him back to the city, and he does a eulogy and buries him. And he says, oh no. And then after the burial, he says, the prophet from Beit tells his sons, I want to be buried next to this prophet from Yehuda. Put my burial next to his burial place. And I believe that everything that he said is going to happen to this place is true, which means terrible things to those who worship other gods. And did this change Yerovam's mind? Did this turn him into a God-fearing person who worships Hashem? No, he did not do it. He continues to offer these sacrifices to bring, well, it says that he continues to make priests who are not Leviim, and he continues to sustain this this practice of Avodah Zarah and the other altars, and it's not going to end up well for him, because Hashem said, if you keep my word, it's going to be good, otherwise not. That has been Parak Yud Gimel, the sad story of Yerovam offering a sacrifice for Avodah Zarah in Beit El, the prophet from Yehuda coming to say, look, you can't do this anymore, this whole place is going to be destroyed. He then refuses the offer to eat, goes back home. The prophet from Beit El is like, seduces him to stay there and eat. Hashem's like, you broke the rules. And so he continues after eating at the home of the prophet from Beit El. A lion takes his life. He's at the roadside there. The prophet from Beit El comes, eulogizes him, has him buried, and is like, this guy is real. It's for real. It's going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. What bad things are going to happen and how fast and furious will they come? Check it out in the next parak, Parak Yud Daled.